The voice of the Cayman Islands, Radio Cayman.
Shining down from above.
We love our listeners.
Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands.
In answer to his question about the subjects,
There are more questions than answers.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today.
oh, what a compliment. For that, I thank you.
What is happening now? There are hopeless and
Now it's time for us to stand up for God or we fall to nothing.
It's time now for Radio Cayman's Talk Today. If you're ready to talk, we're willing to listen.
Cayman Islands foremost listeners participation program.
Radio Cayman Talk Today.
Listening to the general public, what the public is saying.
And good afternoon and happy July 21st, Radio Cayman Nation. Thank you for tuning into your station of the nation, Radio Cayman. I'm Raymond Singh, filling in for Mr. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks. Thank you for letting us into your homes, cars, and offices for today's episode of Talk Today. On today's show, we'll be discussing the Domestic Partnership Bill with Georgetown MLA Mr. Kenneth Bryan, then briefly featuring the new Social Happy Hour initiative, and closing out our show today, meeting with members of the Red Cross and therapy community regarding the new mobile youth health and wellness program. As always, we do welcome your stories, feedback, and questions and invite you to join the conversation. Simply dial 1-800-534-TALK. That's 1-800-534-8255 or 949-8037. A quick note, since we will be touching on an emotive and for some a controversial discussion regarding the Domestic Partnership Bill, we do not permit any form of abuse on our show, and we do encourage all callers, regardless of your personal views, to maintain a respectful line of communication. Stay tuned for Talk Today following this brief disclaimer.
Talk Today is brought to you by Fidelity Bank. For all your banking needs, visit fidelitygroup.com. Fidelity, we're good for you.
Also brought to you by greenturtle.ky. Take a ride on the Green Turtle Express today. Download the Green Turtle app. The future of mobile, saving lives today. Radio Cayman's Talk Today, the Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program. We ask our listeners to avoid statements or comments which are abusive, derogatory, malicious, or defamatory. Do not use any indecent language or make any statement which is false or misleading. Email talktoday@candw.ky or call 1-800-534-8255.
Courtesy of Live Communication.
Let your voice be heard.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today.
And welcome back to Talk Today. In case you're just tuning in, I'm Raymond Singh, filling in for Mr. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks. And we're very pleased to have in studio Mr. Kenneth Bryan, Georgetown MLA. How are you, sir? Happy Tuesday.
I'm good, Mr. Raymond. Thank you so much for the opportunity. I'm sorry, my brain is kind of all over the place. So much going on at one time. I want to say, firstly, before we get started, though, good afternoon to everybody who's listening via radio or watching via YouTube, because we are advanced now here at Radio Cayman. Eventually we're going to be on Facebook, I hope, at some stage.
You know, we're going to cover all the platforms.
All the platforms.
In some stage.
Instagram, everything, right?
Are getting there.
But yeah, so to all of those who are partaking with this conversation with us, I hope you're having a blessed day. Things are good. Obviously, quite busy politically. Sure. A lot on our plates as legislators right now. And I'm here today to speak about one that is imminent this coming Monday at the Legislative Assembly, which will be the government's proposed domestic partnership bill. This bill, or the elements that surround this bill, has been a very sensitive one and emotionally driven one for many decades. We've been dealing with this for a long time. And I think that for lack of better words, we're kind of at a crossroads now in respect to making a decision moving forward with this topic, particularly that of the rights of homosexuals in the Cayman Islands. So it is important, as a representative of the people of Georgetown Central, that I engage with them get direction and input and how they feel about this particular topic, and share some of the realities of what we're facing in respect to our relationship with the UK and what our obligations are constitutionally and internationally. So what I want to focus on today is more of a in-depth view of how do we get to this place, and what do we do now, and what are the consequences of what we do or do not do in respect to this bill. But I hope to engage some listeners, and hopefully, particularly if it's my Georgetown Central voters, them, if they have any questions or concerns, that they can call in. Obviously, I represent everybody in the Cayman Islands, but primarily the good people of Georgetown Central in respect to registered voters. So that's the plan today, and hopefully we can have a good discussion, because communication is key and dialogue is key, particularly in doing this job. And we have some serious discussions to have this coming Monday at the Legislative Assembly, which is right around the corner.
Very close. It's less than a week away.
Yes.
Now, this issue has not been one that has been solely focused on Cayman. This has been a global scenario in the Western world for quite some time. We saw the legislation in the U.S. less than a decade ago.
Yes.
But as you mentioned, there is some history about how we got to this point now.
Yes.
So can you walk us through a bit about that history, just particular to Cayman?
Okay, well, as you know, in 1503, the Cayman Islands was founded.
You took us way back.
Yeah,
you didn't start 3 decades. You went 3 centuries.
Yes, we got to go that far back to understand
enough.
how important this is, because it has a lot to do with our relationship with the UK.
Sure.
So in 1503, we were discovered by Christopher Columbus. Eventually, through the Treaty of Madrid, the Cayman Islands was acquired and controlled by the British. And since then, we've always been connected and controlled and governed and monitored through that relationship.
Sure.
Over time, obviously, we've gotten more administrative rights, more legal rights, and constitutional rights to govern ourselves. Back then, the UK and the Cayman Islands, both jurisdictions, had relationships in respect to homosexuality was an illegal act. Obviously, the United Kingdom has amended much of their legislation and depends on how you look at it, improve their legislation in respect to the rights of persons who have who are homosexual. Sure. and therefore have that lifestyle. In respect to the relationship of the Cayman Islands and the UK has always taken this approach of more a persuasive attitude to getting the overseas territories to be in line with their likings and what they do in their legislation, even though they could take the iron fist approach, because we're technically owned and we're a territory of the United Kingdom. But the UK has taken that approach over tens and tens of years, as centuries now, that it's more of an encouraging role to say, listen, this is what we're doing here in the UK, and as overseas territories, we would like you to do the same, and we encourage you to do the same, until it gets to that point where, okay, you're not going to do it, we're going to have to do it for you.
Sure.
And it's an approach that I must say that after much research over the last 3 weeks, I have to say I respect. And I'm going to give you an example of that. Many people may be aware that there was an order in council done on the 13th day of December of 2000, where the United Kingdom ordered for a law we used to call the Boogery Law to be repealed, which then allowed for persons who were homosexual to have acts of their own in private, for that no longer to be illegal, because it was illegal before. Mm-hmm. Now, the UK changed their legislation from back in the 1960s, but it was not changed in the overseas territories until in 2000. We're talking about 35 years later. Sure. And this is how long it took before the UK say, okay, listen, we've been telling you, get yourself in line. Now we're going to do an order in council. And this is after different governments, conservatives and left-wing, right-wing governments back and forth in the UK keep on, every time the administration changes, they will do different reports suggesting that the overseas territories should do this or should do that. until I think it was the 1996 administration or 97 administration in the UK, there was a white paper done, and basically in saying that, we're encouraging and persuading the overseas territories to do so in respect to decriminalizing homosexual acts in private. And if you don't do so, we're going to do so by order in council. Ultimately, the overseas territories didn't adhere to that, and an order in council was done. And therefore now what we once knew as boogery law is no longer existent in the Cayman Islands. So technically speaking, regardless of whether you appreciate or like or dislike homosexual acts, they're illegal in the Cayman Islands in the privacy of their homes, just like a heterosexual couple in the privacy of their homes. And that's an example of what the kind of relationship is with the United Kingdom. And it's key and important that we recognize that in our Constitution and in our relationship, the United Kingdom always has the nuclear option. The relationship is one almost like a parent and a child to say, listen, I'll let you go as far as you need to go, learn your own ways and test the waters. But if I have to, I will step in and stop you here or force you to do X here. And I think that's where we're at now in respect to this topic about the rights of persons of same-sex relationships and our relationship with our obligations to the United Kingdom. Because as you know, the United Kingdom is party and signed to the European Convention on Human Rights. And as a result of that, by being an overseas territory of the United Kingdom, we're obligated to those same things. Now, you may also remember in 2009, we implemented a new constitution voted by a majority of the people of this country. Okay. And there was a lot of negotiations going on back in 2008 as to what our constitution would have looked like before we had that referendum. Now, throughout those negotiations, the UK team that was here talked with the negotiators of the Cayman Islands, which was all the legislators at that time, along with many non-profit organizations and the churches. And the Bill of Rights was introduced and discussed and negotiated in respect to that being a part of our new constitution. And in the Bill of Rights, this is where the protections of persons who are of any different thinking, when I say that, I mean like whether you're black, white, rich, poor, disabled, old, young, homosexual, heterosexual, this is where the non-discriminatory elements were implemented in our new constitution. Sure. So much of the discussions were going on back then, and topics about our Christian heritage, and how do you balance that with modernizing our constitution back then. And this is when the description or the definition, of marriage between a man and woman came to light in our Cayman's constitutional concept. Because the negotiators on behalf of the Cayman Islands wanted to ensure our Christian principles. And I think what unfortunately transpired and which caused us to be here is that the Constitution back then, having the protection of marriage between a man and a woman, kind of conflicts with the Bill of Rights in itself. So this bill is a bill that presents a solution to how do you have a law that says marriages between a man and a woman without discriminating against persons who are of the same sex in a relationship. Because when you're married, you get a certain set of privileges and rights that come along with it. So we have a constitution that doesn't quite mesh without some other sort of legislation that allows the principles of non-discrimination. And what we've seen over the last couple of years is the test of that through the courts, through the Grand Court with the Chief Justice's rulings. You know that the government challenged that and said you can't change the definition of between a man and a woman. But then it went to the Court of Appeal, and the Court of Appeal said, listen, no, the marriage is between a man and a woman, but that doesn't mean you don't have to have some sort of legislation that offer those particular rights. So now we're at this stage where...
Now it's before the Privy Council, is that correct?
No, it's not at the Privy Council yet, but it's on its way.
It's on its way.
And I think that without inside information, that we will be on its way even quicker, depending on what the outcome of this bill Monday's debate.
That actually might be a good place to pause just for a moment. Let's take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we'll venture past that point.
No problem.
Be back with more talk today right after this.
Fidelity Bank would like to thank all essential workers. We salute your efforts and thank you for the sacrifices you've made to keep us all safe. During these challenging times we're facing, our top priority is the health and safety of the communities we serve. And while it's true that things are changing rapidly every day, one thing that will never change is our commitment to giving you the best and sound financial solutions to help you during and after the coronavirus pandemic. At Fidelity Bank, our focus will always be you. Fidelity, we're good for you.
Have you heard the news? Get excited! King Sports Center is reopening on Saturday, July 4th for bowling and skating, Monday, July 6th for the Powerhouse Gym, and July 19th for sports programs. King Sports Center offers a complete health and recreational environment for the only sports and recreational facility of its kind in the Cayman Islands. A full list of all safety precautions is listed at www.kingsportscenter.com. For more information, call 946-5464. Email kings@candw.ky. King Sports Center, providing you with all your fitness, recreation, and relaxation needs.
Wow, looks good. What is that?
Chicken chair.
What did you just say to me?
Chicken chair.
I am not a chicken.
Whoa! I said chicken share. It's from KFC. Bucket of 12 hot wings, 6 pieces of chicken, or 8 tenders. KFC chicken share. Just $12 each.
Oh.
Want some chicken, tenders, or hot wings?
You're sharing your chicken share with me?
The new chicken share from KFC, just $12 each, and it's finger-licking good. Dine at KFC Baytown Plaza, KFC Shedden Road, or KFC at the Strand.
Listen to the general public. Your thoughts are just a telephone call away. 1-800-534-8255.
What the public is saying.
Let your voice be heard. And now,
Radio Cayman's Talk Today.
And welcome back to Talk Today. In case you're just tuning in for our show, I'm Raymond Singh, filling in for Mr. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks. And we have in studio Georgetown Central MLA, Mr. Kenneth Bryan, here discussing the upcoming vote on the Domestic Partnership Bill. As always, we do welcome you to join our conversation. Simply dial 1-800-534-8255. A quick note again, since we are discussing a relatively emotive topic, and for some, a very controversial discussion regarding the Domestic Partnership Bill. We do not permit any form of abuse on our show, and we do encourage all of our callers, regardless of your personal views, to maintain a respectful line of communication. Mr. Kenneth, back to you.
So I was just outlining some of the history behind how we got to this point. I think we went to a break on the point that it went to the appeals court.
Correct.
And ultimately the appeal court came back saying that, yes, marriage is between a man and a woman, but you also have to address the human rights violations as in respect to our obligations to our relationship with the UK and therefore the European Convention on Human Rights. So, as you may have said here on the show or other shows before, we know the declaration by the Court of Appeal, which is to introduce legislation that is functionally equivalent to marriage as expeditiously as possible. And I think, unfortunately, I didn't bring the documents with me of what exactly was in the ruling, but you heard that the government is using this bill as their response to the Court of Appeal in respect to adhering to that declaration by the Court of Appeal. Now, we have to understand the seriousness of a Court of Appeal given a declaration, because the Court of Appeal is the highest court within our jurisdiction itself. The next step is up to the Privy Council, and the Privy Council is the Queen's Council, and they will be the ones who will take it the next step further and make the final call on this. And many people are not sure exactly what will happen if it gets there, and there's much speculation as to some of the comments made by current governments, and I'll give you an example of that. So the 2017-2019 report done by the Foreign Affairs Committee made suggestions that the overseas territories, amongst other issues, should implement same-sex marriage immediately. And if they don't, that the UK government, which is separate from the Foreign Affairs Committee, the Foreign Affairs Committee is a select committee of parliamentarians within the, I think, 600 and odd parliamentarians. So it's just a select committee talking about the foreign affairs elements of the UK jurisdiction. And one of the issues was to get the overseas territories in line with similar or exact legislation that they have in the UK. And their suggestion in that was that the overseas territories should be mandated to have same-sex marriages right away. The government responded to that committee's report by saying the long-standing relationship that we've always had with the overseas territories, like I was saying to you from back in 1503, was one of persuasion and suggestion and encouragement for overseas territories to understand their obligations of this relationship as an overseas territory and try to make the decision themselves. So they took the approach to say this matter of local law is a dissolved element of power to local legislators, and we're not going to intervene, and we respect the relationship that we have. So they've said that we will not get involved in local legislation.
Was there any reference made to the 2000 Order in Council?
I don't recall. I don't recall. I really wish I bought my binder so I could have referred to these things, but I don't recall them referring to the 2000 Order in Council.
So there was no perceived threat there of listen.
Yeah, well, I don't think it came off as a threat. Okay. But there was an encouragement within that letter as well to say persons should get themselves in line with their obligations as to the European Convention. So again, another persuasive element of saying, listen, we're encouraging overseas territories to get themselves in line with their obligations as an overseas territory. But the last sentence is said, which is where I think some of the confusion may have come up, was they said, we have no intention of having an order in council on this issue. Now, unfortunately, I believe that if it's taken out of context of the timing of that statement, that statement was made before we had a Court of Appeal declaration, which is a very high court in our jurisdiction. It's the highest court in our jurisdiction. And the theory now is, or the worry that some sides are saying is that if we don't adhere to that declaration by the Court of Appeals, when it goes to the UK, it will seem as a disregard for the local laws, because it's a part of our Constitution, which is the highest law in our jurisdiction. So the Court of Appeal has deemed that these rights, based on the Bill of Rights, have been denied, but yet marriage is protected. You have to find some other way to offer those rights. And the government is presenting this bill as a way to respond to that declaration.
And now we're up to now. So this is now where we're at.
This is now where we're at. But some of the things that I found in my research over the last 3 weeks also is something we call contingent liability. The UK, and it has a lot to do with the relationship, again, I go back to the relationship with the UK and the Cayman Islands. To appreciate the fact that the UK does not take an iron fist approach with any changes that they have within their legislation, but more one of a persuasive approach to say, I think you should come along and change and factor it in, as long as it doesn't create relations along with mother country. And not, in some cases, that may take 50 years. For example, the UK, as I said before, the UK changed their approach to homosexual acts. In 1967, they didn't do an order in council until 2000, which is 33 years later. So this persuasive kind of approach, until you get to that final stage, takes years upon years. And I think what we're having now is yet again another attempt, but with inside pressures from persons locally who are challenging the system based on that constitution with the Bill of Rights in it, to say, listen, now you have to do this. Then it forces the hands of the Court of Appeal, and the Court of Appeal is now forcing the hands of the UK government to step in if we don't address the matter.
So with the 2000 order in council, was there something that provoked that decision in 2000? And that's a long delay, the 30 some odd years delay between the UK implementing their laws. Was there something that actually provoked the 2000?
Yes, there was something that provoked it. It was another report, and I think it was a white paper report.
Okay.
And in that report, it was bringing up the how do we move forward as an administration? How do we improve our relationships and our structures with the relationship with overseas territories and the UK? So how it came up was a re-examination of the relationships with the United Kingdom and the overseas territories.
Okay.
And then within that examination, they go, oh, by the way, they still haven't resolved this matter of homosexual acts. And that wasn't the only thing that was done in that order in council in 2000. Capital punishment was also withdrawn.
Okay.
So it was not only specific. It's not as if to say that the UK was honing in only on homosexuality, but many of the other things that were not compatible with the United Kingdom. Now, every couple of years, you'll see another report with overseas territories trying to get them in line. Particularly in line with the UK obligations to international treaties, like the European Convention on Human Rights. And that's what I was trying to get to in respect to contingent liabilities, right? So before that statement that many people are holding their foundation on in respect to saying, the government has said that, they will not do an order in council at this time in respect to this matter, was before a contingent liability concern came up. And now the contingent liability concern is the fact that the Court of Appeals have said that the Cayman Islands are in violation of the human rights and that the UK, by way of being mother country, has a responsibility to address this. So from an international perspective now, you have a court now calling on the UK to either, if the local politicians don't do something about it, then you're obligated. So then the European Convention will then look at the UK and say, okay, you've been given the order, they're down there and they're not doing what they're supposed to do. If you don't take action as well, if they don't take action and then you don't take action, you're contingently liable for the violation of these rights. So why I say that, unfortunately, I think many people are falling on a false premise when the government said they have no intentions of an order in council is because that statement was made before the Court of Appeal. So now the circumstances have changed. And I've in respect to doing my research about this topic and where we're at with things, I spoke with our local representative, His Excellency Governor Roper, to say, a lot of people are holding on to that, thinking that, the UK government has said they won't step in. And he says, without getting into too much conversation, because I try to keep our conversations private, but Kenneth, the circumstances have changed. We are now contingently liable because if the Cayman Islands government does not pass this bill on Monday, depending on how long the debate may take, it may take till Tuesday because it's going to be a lot of conversation and everybody's allowed 2 hours to speak. So it may not vote until Tuesday in my estimations. Because then the UK, if it's not addressed within a reasonable period of time, the European Convention and all those persons who were tied to that agreement can hold the UK government accountable because they don't have direct relationships with us. They have direct relationships with the UK, who is responsible for us. So I personally think, and I've come to the conclusion based on research of our constitutional obligations, based on past behavior of the United Kingdom in respect to their approach to the overseas territories, based on discussions with the governor, His Excellency, that I genuinely am of the view that if we do not pass this bill, that the UK government will enforce something similar or equivalent to that before it gets to a stage where they're contingently liable for any potential damages as a result.
I have to call you right there only because I am contingently liable to Miss Susan Watson, and I'm getting a look for Miss Susan Watson right now. We've got to go to break. So on that note, we'll be back for Talk Today right after this.
Green Turtle, Modern solutions to get you through the new normal. Download the Green Turtle app now and top up yours or a loved one's phone with any mobile carrier in any destination. Home delivery of laptops, tablets, phones, accessories, and iTunes and major online retailer gift cards. And now, home deliveries of groceries and courier service. Guaranteed delivery within 2 hours from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Visit their list of products at greenturtle.ky or download the Green Turtle app today. Green Turtle is not only the future of mobile, but today it can help save a life. Take a ride on the Green Turtle Express today. Download the Green Turtle app, the future of mobile, saving lives today. Register for the University College of the Cayman Islands 4-week technical vocational courses. The introductory courses provide training in computer technology, customer service, QuickBooks, commercial cooking, electrical installations, plumbing and air conditioning applications, and many more. Classes start July 27th. Qualified Caymanians can apply for private scholarship. How can you register? Join UCCI's registration drive from July 22nd to the 24th and July 27th, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. on the UCCI campus. Bring your passport and health insurance card. For more information, contact the admissions team at admissions@ucci.edu.ky or call 623-8224.
As the community continues to take precautions from COVID-19, it is important to stay prepared for other disasters now that we're in the hurricane season. Here are some post-hurricane safety tips from the Department of Environmental Health. Did you know that you must discard fresh fruits and vegetables, meats, foods in canisters, dented, leaking, or rusting cans after they have come in contact with floodwater? For full guidance on post-hurricane safety tips, visit www.deh.gov.ky.
Help support survivors of domestic violence by believing them. Being there for them is one of the best things that you can do. Listen and hear what they need. Let them tell their story in their own way. When supporting persons experiencing domestic violence, maintain confidentiality. They have trusted you enough to share their story. Don't share it with others. If children are involved, alert the multi-agency safeguarding hub. Being there for survivors also means staying in touch. Create a code word or emoji, so if you receive or hear that from them, you will call 911. To help them, it's vital to talk to survivors about their options and help them to evaluate each one. And finally, remember that you cannot rescue survivors of domestic violence, but you can support them on their own terms. For additional support, please contact the Emergency Services, the Cayman Islands Crisis Center, the Family Resource Center, the Legal Befrienders Clinic, the Needs Assessment Unit in Grand Cayman or Cayman Brac, the Mental Health Helpline, the Kids Helpline, or the Department of Community Rehabilitation.
Listen to the general public.
Your thoughts are just a telephone call away. 1-800-534-8255.
What the public is saying.
Let your voice be heard. And now,
Radio Cayman's Talk Today.
And welcome back to Talk Today. I'm Raymond Singh, filling in for Mr. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks, and we are chatting with Georgetown Central MLA, Mr. Kenneth Bryan. Kenneth, the mic's back to you.
Thank you so much, Raymond. As we were saying before the break, obviously this matter and this topic is a very complicated one, sure. With a lot of history, a lot of legal obligations, and a lot of emotional attachments either way and sensitivity. So in my role as a representative for the people of Georgetown Central, I can't leave them out. This is not just your decision where, the MLAs make a decision as to which direction the road is going to go down, or this is a very sensitive cultural, religious rights. There's so many elements tied into this, and I think we can't leave the people out of this discussion. Personally, I am of the view that it should have went to the people of this country for a referendum to make a decision because of the sensitivities of it. Why the government chose not to do that? I guess they can answer that question when the debate comes up, because I'm certain that that topic will arise. But for the interest of today and the time that I have, I'm going to do the very next best thing I can do as a representative for the people of Georgetown Central. So I just got through recording a video. That's why I'm in my suit today at the Government Information Services, and I want to thank the team over there for allowing me to do so, which I'll be sending out to my constituents in short order as to my intention moving forward about this bill. So I'll just for clarity, because it's summarized so much better of what I wrote, that I'm just going to read it. Okay? It says, "Good day, Georgetown Central voters. As many of you know, the government has released a bill for public consultation entitled the Domestic Partnership Bill. It is due to be debated and voted on in our Legislative Assembly on Monday, the 27th of this month. As your representative and your voice in the Legislative Assembly, it is important that I consult and get directives from you, the good people of Georgetown Central. So it is my intention to hold a vote on this matter at the Constitutional Hall, better known as the Georgetown Town Hall, this coming Saturday from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Your vote will be confidential and will be done in private, where no one will know what your views are. Your input and direction on this bill, by way of your vote, is vital to best represent you. The question will be simple, and it reads as follows. As a registered voter for the constituency of Georgetown Central, do you wish for your representative, Mr. Kenneth Bryan, to vote in favor of the government's proposed domestic partnership bill? Yes or no? But before you vote, it is important that I inform you of some facts and realities of this bill. Firstly, this bill is the government's proposed solution to the declaration made by the Cayman Islands Court of Appeal to implement a legal framework that is equivalent to marriage for persons in same-sex relationships. Secondly, after much examination of our constitutional obligations and discussions with the local UK representative, His Excellency the Governor, I am left with the view that if this bill is not passed, the UK will enforce similar or equivalent legislation based on our obligations to the European Convention on Human Rights. Lastly, if the people of the Cayman Islands are adamant about not having any legislation that recognizes relationships of same-sex couples, the only other recourse available is a call for independence. Now, it's imperative that I tell you that I do not support or believe that this topic warrants a call for independence. But as your representative, I'm obligated to let you know what your options are. And as your voice in the Legislative Assembly, it's paramount that I understand and know what your wish is on this important topic before our Honorable House. So again, I invite you to come and place your vote that will help advise me as to your position on the government's proposed domestic partnership bill. I look forward to seeing you this coming Saturday, the 25th of July, at the Constitutional Hall, better known as the Georgetown Town Hall, between the hours of 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. Come and take part in your democracy. God bless and stay safe. Now, Mr. Raymond, I think that summarizes my concept of where we're at because of some of the history that is outlined to you before about our relationship with the UK, what our obligations are, our history here locally, and the like. I take the role that I play as a representative for the people of Georgetown Central very seriously. And I know that I probably brought up a very sensitive topic just now, the word independence.
That's a whole other show.
That's a whole other show altogether. But I am obligated to tell the people that I represent the realities of things. And the reality is, at this particular point, based on what I've seen, is that we don't have much options. Because I'm of the view that the UK will step in. Every indication that I've been given is that. And without speculation, I decided to speak to the governor. And he is the voice of the United Kingdom here in the Cayman Islands. And he hasn't disagreed with that position. Matter of fact, he doubled down on it. So I think that regardless of what the ultimate vote may be in the Legislative Assembly, I want us to be fully informed of all the facts available when making that decision, because where we're at right now is at a crossroads, and a crossroads is when a crucial decision has to be made that will have far-reaching consequences, and that's where we're at. But unfortunately, some of the discussions that I'm hearing, a lot of the facts of the realities of what we're facing in the country are being left out. Because, like I said in my first debate when this topic came out, we have to remember we are children living in our mother's house. And sometimes your mother may say, hey, I don't want you doing that, or hey, I need you to do this. And the only other way not to obey to your mother's house is find your own place to stay. And I know that that's a bit of a tight topic.
It is.
But probably a good time to go to a break.
That's a very good time to go to a break. On that note, we'll be back with more talk today right after our 1 p.m. headline news.
Follow Radio Cayman on Twitter. Radio Cayman on Twitter. All the latest information, breaking news, community events, and more. Follow us at twitter.com/Radio Cayman.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman.
It's only 2 species that we have here on Island.
Generations present.
Your voice, your choice.
It is in the best interest of the people of these islands.
Local, regional, international. This is Headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
Today's biggest news.
With your latest headlines, I'm Felicia Rankin-Solins. Monday's 529 COVID-19 test results show no positives for the virus that causes COVID-19 disease. To date, 203 people have tested positive for the coronavirus in the Cayman Islands out of 28,126 tests. There are 2 active asymptomatic cases and 200 people have recovered. We've seen 1 death, an Italian tourist who fell ill on a cruise ship and was brought on island for emergency medical treatment. In international news, EU leaders have struck a deal on a huge post-coronavirus recovery package following a 4th night of talks. It involves 750 billion euros in grants and loans to counter the impact of the pandemic in the 27-member bloc. It is the biggest joint borrowing ever agreed by the EU. The UK government badly underestimated the Russian threat and the response it required, according to an inquiry. The Intelligence and Security Committee's long-awaited report into Russian activity in the UK said the government was playing catch-up. The report also claimed the government made no effort to investigate Russian interference in the EU referendum. The UK government has signed deals for 90 million doses of promising coronavirus vaccines that are being developed. The new deal is on top of 100 million doses of the Oxford University vaccine being developed by AstraZeneca. However, it is still uncertain which of the experimental vaccines may work. Those are your headlines. I'm Felicia Rankin-Solins.
For the latest in news and information,
Follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, radiocayman.gov.ky.
your voice, your choice, your radio.
Listen to the general public.
Your thoughts are just a telephone call away. 1-800-534-8255.
What the public is saying.
Let your voice be heard. And now,
Radio Cayman's Talk Today.
Welcome back to Talk Today. I'm Raymond Singh, filling in for Mr. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks. And we have in studio, in case you're just joining us, Georgetown Central MLA, Mr. Kenneth Bryan. Kenneth, we've been discussing the upcoming vote on the domestic partnership bill. Walk us through what is coming up this weekend on your behalf and for the people of Georgetown Central.
Yes. So ultimately, I am holding an opportunity for my constituents to come and make a vote on whether they want me to support this bill or not, just like how you would do in an election. So at the town hall, what we'll have is when you come into the front doors, we'll have my team there. It's probably going to be 3 to 4 people, and no more than that, because we definitely don't want anybody in that building, more than 10 people at any one time, because of the restrictions of COVID-19.
Which is still around.
Which we are technically allowed 50 people, but we want to keep it as limited as possible. So you come in and you say, I am John Blow and I live at X Street so-and-so, and I see your ID. We'll have a master list of all registered voters in Georgetown Central. You come in, say, I'm John Blow, and my team will find you on the list. Okay, Mr. John Blow. And then you'll have a sheet of paper with the question on it. And as I read before, the question will say, as a registered voter for the constituency of Georgetown Central, do you wish for your representative, Mr. Kenneth Bryan, to vote in favor of the government's proposed domestic partnership bill? And now at the bottom, you'll have a little small box where it says yes, and a little small box where it says no. So you just mark, you can tick inside of it like a check, or you can put an X. Just have a clear marking of where you want it to be. You will take that, you fold it, just like how you would do in an election, you fold it, and then you walk over to the box, central box, which has to be seen by my team, and you drop it in. Just for security purposes, just to make sure that nobody's printing some funny ones and bringing it down, these ballots, what we call them. I don't want to use the word ballot because I don't want people to think this is a general election, but for this voting purpose, we will have our sheets where it have the question and the place where we tick our X in yes or no, and we will have my stamp from my office there at the table. So when we give it to you, we'll stamp it so nobody else can have, we can't see there's any duplicates in the box or what have you. And after you've done that, you just walk out through the side door and you walk back out. So it will take you about 2 to 3 minutes max to do it. And I hope people take the time out on this Saturday just to come on down and give me an indication, because it's important that I know how the people feel about this matter, and that they fully understand the repercussions of whatever that decision may be.
For our listeners' sake, walk us through those 3 potential consequences of the vote on Monday.
Well, again, this is my interpretation, and nobody knows. Nobody knows. Nobody can call, unless we can call Boris Johnson up and say, "Hey, Boris, what's going to happen if we don't pass this bill?"
Have you tried doing that?
Firstly, if we pass the bill, then it's pretty straightforward, because we have met the criteria declared by the Court of Appeal to address the violation or the discriminatory concerns that the challengers, the Cayman challengers, have stated. So there's no question as to what happens moving forward. It's passed, and that's the end of it.
And everything is massaged out. There's no more legal actions.
I can't say to you what the correspondence of the challenge before the court will do, whether they go, okay, no, we want to go to Privy Council because we want same-sex marriage. I don't think so. All the indications from the 2 challengers have always been, listen, we just want the same rights as a person who is allowed to be married.
Sure.
I don't know if their position has changed. They have the right under law to carry the challenge as far as they do. I would hope that if the bill is passed, that they would, for the comfort of unity and everybody getting along, leave it there. That would be my wish. But again, it's their right to do so. If we don't pass the bill, then the next stage is, depending on what the respondents want to do, whether I think the process is now on the way to the Privy Council. I heard some talk about potentially in the early part of next year. I can't confirm that. But I'm not privy to what their legal team is doing. I think the government may have more of a better understanding of that. But if it goes to the Privy Council will decide on it. I must say this, one of the concerns that have been said, and is shared by the governor in our talks, is that there's a potential chance that if it gets that far to the Privy Council, we may not have a bill called a domestic partnership bill. The Privy Council also has the authority, if they see in favor, to say, okay, we're going to order the Cayman Islands to actually have legislation equivalent to that in the UK, which is same-sex marriage, period. So this decision It's going to have some consequences either way. I mean, if we pass it, there's still a large amount of people in our society who are Christian faith believers, and I protect that right all day, every day, because the Bill of Rights not only protects persons who are homosexual, but it also protects Christians. But one of the things I think that I would like people to focus on is that this bill could potentially, if you look at it the right way, can also protect the Christian position, which is marriage is between a man and a woman.
Which is what it does.
Which is this. What you will have is technically two different bills, two different pieces of legislation. For those who are of the Christian faith, can feel that okay, this is my piece of legislation that is respected to what my Christian faith may be, while at the same time we have a different piece of legislation that offer the rights to those persons who were obligated to by our European Convention and our Bill of Rights in our Constitution will also get the same rights. Because one of the things that is important, Raymond, and I have to leave with this, is that I don't want, after this debate is finished, that we come out more divided than we are now. This is a time when we need to unify more than divide, because we're facing much adversities. There's a lot of Caymanians who are unemployed. We need to be able to get people together, not divide them anymore. And if there's an attitude of respect for one another, regardless of your views, listen, you could be atheist. I don't know. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't really affect my belief system.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? I am a Christian. This is my faith. As long as your belief doesn't affect or impede on my belief, like say for instance, if this law said Christians couldn't serve in church anymore, then I definitely wouldn't be supporting it. What this law is basically saying, we're creating a separate piece of legislation that allows the rights of those who may act in what many Christians believe to be not right with the Christian faith. But it doesn't stop them from being Christian. So that's where I want us to think about it, because I don't want us to be divided after this vote is taken, because this topic has been an emotive topic for hundreds of years, and it's divided a lot of societies. And I don't want anything to divide us any more than what we are. We need to be pulling together, and I think between now and the vote, hopefully the country will talk about this enough, and that we can find a solution to what is before us. But most importantly, it's not about how I feel about it. It's about how my voters that I represent feel about it. I'm not a politician. I'm a representative. I'm like a lawyer when you go into court and you say, listen, I want to plead not guilty. Regardless if you're guilty or not, he's going to go inside and say, my defendant says he's not guilty. And that's what I'm here to do. I'm here to act on their behalf. So I want to hear what they have to say in respect to this matter. And I hope that they do so this coming Saturday at 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. I and my team will be at the Georgetown Town Hall, now named the Constitutional Hall, from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. You can come in, you can give your vote in secrecy. It's going to be really quick. The answer is quite simple. Do you want your representative to support this bill or not? Yes or no. And then you can go back on to your Saturday shopping. All right?
So a quick question then,
yes,
just to make sure we avoid any confusion whatsoever.
Yeah.
This is something that you're coordinating through your Georgetown Central office. This is not an election office.
This is not an elections office. This is solely for the voters of Georgetown Central. It's not for all of Georgetown. It's only for the voters of Georgetown Central. It's for me to meet my obligations as a representative. I honestly would like a national vote on this, a referendum, but the government hasn't chosen to do that. And I don't have much time to argue and debate with the government as to why they didn't do that. By then, the bill is before the House. Sure. So I'm going to do what I have to do now to give the opportunity to those who I represent to give me directives as how they want me to handle this matter. But as long as they understand all the facts involved and what the ramifications is of that vote, then I know that I can be clear of what my position is, and that my people understood exactly what they meant when they voted yes or they voted no.
All right, and so the vote is again next Monday, potentially Tuesday, depending on how many MLAs exercise their 2-hour talk times on this one.
Yes,
I'm sure a lot will take advantage of the opportunity to
Yes.
You utilize that 2 hours.
Yes. If I can just quickly, I know we're going to close up
Please.
now. I want to encourage persons who are listening right now who are Georgetown Central voters. Think about anybody else that you know is a Georgetown Central voter. Ask them, please, put aside just 5 to 10 minutes of your time to come down to the town hall to give me your directive. Great. Please, it's important, it's vital to the key component of me representing your voice. Absolutely. And this is a serious matter. It's not one that I think you should leave only in my hands. Now, I'll contribute to the thinking behind it in respect to the outcome of the results. But I think I would prefer you come down and give me an idea. If people don't come, then you leave the whole sole decision to me. So I want us to bear that in mind. Tell everybody you know in your neighborhood, listen, let's go down there, tell our representative how we feel about this by a simple X, yes or no, in respect to a box. And it's going to take you 3 minutes max. It doesn't take a lot of time from you. So tell your friends, tell your family, and this is specifically only for Georgetown Central registered voters. And it's this coming Saturday at the Georgetown Town Hall, which is now called the Constitutional Hall, from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. So I look forward to seeing all the registered voters of Georgetown Central come and take part in your democracy.
And you'll be sharing the video you shot with IS on your Facebook page.
Yes, I will be sharing it. There will be a strong media campaign starting tomorrow, letting everybody know what's going on.
Fair enough. Mr. Kenneth, thank you so much for coming in, and all the best with Monday's very historic vote.
Thank you very much, Raymond. It was a pleasure to be here. God bless.
Thank you, sir. Be back with more talk today right after this brief commercial break.
Green Turtle, modern solutions to get you through the new normal. Download the Green Turtle app now and top up yours or a loved one's phone with any mobile carrier in any destination. Home delivery of laptops, tablets, phones, accessories, and iTunes and major online retailer gift cards. And now, home deliveries of groceries and courier service. Guaranteed delivery within 2 hours from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Visit their list of products at greenturtle.ky or download the Green Turtle app today. Green Turtle is not only the future of mobile, but today it can help save a life. Take a ride on the Green Turtle Express today. Download the Green Turtle app. The future of mobile, saving lives today.
Fidelity Bank would like to thank all essential workers. We salute your efforts and thank you for the sacrifices you've made to keep us all safe. During these challenging times we're facing, our top priority is the health and safety of the communities we serve. And while it's true that things are changing rapidly every day, one thing that will never change is our commitment to giving you the best and sound financial solutions to help you during and after the coronavirus pandemic. At Fidelity Bank, our focus will always be you. Fidelity, we're good for you.
Are you having financial difficulties? Are you unable to pay your water bills because of the coronavirus pandemic? The Water Authority wants to help. Contact a customer service rep today to arrange a payment agreement. Get in touch by emailing info@waterauthority.ky or call 94-WATER. That's 949-2837.
Hi, this is Danny Coleman, Director of Hazard Management Cayman Islands. We are now in the hurricane season, and for information on how to prepare and stay safe, please visit our website, www.caymanprepared.ky. Some top tips to bear in mind, given that we are still in the midst of COVID-19. Please make sure you have a mask and sanitizer, you have food supplies to last for 3 to 5 days, a portable radio, personal hygiene and sanitation items, and medical supplies, and any other specific items your family may need during a hurricane. Make sure you know where you will shelter in the event of a storm. If you have pets, please make sure provisions are in place for them too, as the majority of shelters will not take pets. Please visit our website for more tips and tricks on www.caymanprepared.ky or call us on 945-4624. Stay safe, Cayman.
The Wharf is your only waterfront breakfast and lunch atmosphere along the shoreline. Starts at 7 a.m. with freshly squeezed juices, hot coffee, and your farm fresh eggs.
The unique sunset happy hour and dinner ambiance is your obvious choice for your waterfront dining. See you soon for salsa and boogie nights at the Wharf.
Follow us on Facebook to keep in the loop of all the happenings and come and join us at the all-day waterfront experience on the 7 Mile Beach.
Your thoughts are just a telephone call away. 1-800-534-8255.
What the public is saying.
Let your voice be heard. And now,
Radio Cayman's Talk Today.
And welcome back to Talk Today. In case you're just tuning in, I'm Raymond Singh filling in for Mr. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks, and we just had Mr. Kenneth Bryan, Georgetown Central MLA, in the studio discussing the upcoming domestic partnership bill and his district vote this coming Saturday at the Constitutional Hall in Georgetown. And we're now pleased to have on the line Miss Lisa Jarvis. Good afternoon, Miss Lisa. Are you there?
Good afternoon, yes.
Hey, thanks for joining us on Talk Today.
Thank you for having me.
Yep. So I briefly mentioned yesterday during our show, browsing through the I Love Cayman Facebook group over the weekend, and came across one of your posts, which I found to be just a great socially inspiring initiative. And that was the Happy Hour initiative, where you're going to move around to different locations. Can you tell us a bit about what you're planning here?
Yes, the idea is we are reaching out to local restaurants this week to set up a rotating schedule that we'll promote on our website. That Facebook group has about 9,100 members that consist of not just locals, but tourists and people seeking to visit for the first time as well. So it should get a lot of exposure for the industry, and at the same time allow the community to offer some support while we can't let the tourists do it for us.
Oh, I mean, that's great. So as far as the reason why the idea really stuck out to me is during this time post-COVID, or not post-COVID, but rather the post-lockdown period where we see a number of businesses struggling. This is the community taking matters really into their own hands in some degree to help reinvigorate the business community. And with Cayman being a very big eatery and source of international cuisine, I thought the initiatives came across as very noble from your initiative. So I want to give you a great big round of applause live on the radio for your efforts. Now, as far as the restaurants that you're working with, or the local drinkeries, if I can use that word, how are you selecting these restaurants and establishments?
We are getting suggestions from members of the group, and we are most certainly open to suggestions by the community as well. We've actually established an email account. If anyone has any suggestions, or if you own or manage a restaurant that you would like to see included, we'd be happy to do it. The email is lisalovescayman@gmail.com, and Lisa spelled Lisa. So we are open to everyone's suggestions. We're trying to do this all the way from the East End through West Bay, so no one's excluded.
Are we going to hopefully see something in the Sister Islands in the near future as well?
That's a great idea. I'll see how this one goes, and then I'd be more than happy to do that as well. It's a little slow at work right now, so I have time to do this.
Fair enough. And was there a personal reason why you took this initiative on?
I saw GoFundMe pages being set up for some local restaurants, and I just thought that there's more that we could do. I mean, we are known as the culinary capital of the Caribbean, and when the tourists do come back, it would be great if those businesses were still intact so we could maintain that reputation. I know my 9-year-old grandson was supposed to come and visit in May, and he was really looking forward to the island rotation at different restaurants. So hopefully we'll get him down here soon enough, and we'll actually still be able to do that.
Again, it's like a noble initiative. Is there any, granted, it's a very new setup. It came about, sounds like a very stream of consciousness kind of mindset. Was there any kind of goals you hope to achieve either now or in the near future with this initiative?
If we even get 20 people that wouldn't have normally gone from the community to show up at a local establishment and spend even $50. That's an extra $1,000 for that business on that day. And I know that will make a big difference. And if we get twice as many people, that's even better. And I think as time goes on and it catches on in popularity a little bit, the hope is to really be able to support an industry that is really struggling right now.
And just for avoidance of any doubt, is there any monetary benefit for yourself in this organization?
Not at all.
Okay. Because I know we've seen in other initiatives in the past throughout the islands for the different establishments where there's been these weekly clubs that do frequent different restaurants. But this is actually just an informal, everyone coming out, this is the restaurant we are going to on this night because they're doing this kind of special for us.
Correct. We've had a couple of restaurants that are going to offer drink specials. We've had some that we're interested in doing 10 to 15% off for locals for coming in. So we're going to put all that information together on a calendar so it'll be available for everyone on the I Love Cayman Islands page. So we can get on there and take a look and see where everybody's going to go this week.
Is there any kind of capacity in the event that this takes off like wildfire, given that you have 9,000 members as part of the I Love Cayman page, if it turns into a scenario where 400 people are trying to show up to a happy hour, is there any mechanism in place right now to manage that, or is that going to fall on the establishment to help with?
I hope we have that problem.
It's a good problem to have. It's a very good problem to have, right?
Yes, and if that becomes the case, then what we could do is just add more locations during the week to try to spread it out a little bit based on the capacity limitations for the businesses that are participating.
Oh, great. And as far as, is there any specific days of the week that you're using, or is it really just a matter of the schedules with the establishments?
It's more of a schedule with the establishment because everyone's hours are different right now, especially from what their normal would be. So we're in the interest of not excluding anyone. We're trying to work with the business to pick a day that works for them.
Okay. And you mentioned that you're still ironing out some details. Do you have any dates with locations locked in just yet?
We will have that all done by the end of the day today. We have 3 that are supposed to get back with me this afternoon for next week and the 2 weeks after that. So we're almost there.
Almost there for the rest of the month of July. And again, Lisa, if you don't mind, how can people get in touch with you, and tell us a bit about the Facebook group that you're working with here?
Well, this group typically doesn't promote this type of thing. We actually have a policy that we don't promote specific businesses on the group page, but a few days ago we thought, okay, these circumstances are different. So when I saw that come up, and then we threw this idea out there, and we started getting a lot of traction from these members because, as I said, they're locals, they're tourists that visit the island all the time, and then we also have people on there that are looking to visit for the first time that are looking for suggestions and that type of thing. But this is mostly, if you get on that website, you're going to see a lot of absolutely gorgeous sunset photos and things like that, where we're really just promoting the island itself.
And so be fair, so the listeners are aware, I found this post, your post, in the I Love Cayman Facebook group. I was just kind of scrolling through looking for topic ideas, funny enough, for this week's shows, and yours popped out crystal clear on something that we would definitely support and promoting on Radio Cayman. So again, is there anybody else a part of the group that's working with you to help pull this initiative off?
We have the group administrator, Roland, that has been helping, and we'll put everything together and get it posted online for us. But other than that, it's been just myself and him and a little extra help from you, which we greatly appreciate.
You're most welcome. So once again, how can people get in touch with you if they have any questions or any establishments that may want to get involved?
You can email Lisa, Lisa, lovecayman@gmail.com.
That's fantastic. Lisa, thank you so much for calling in today. Well, was there anything else you wish to add on the program?
No, I'm just really looking forward to being able to try some of these local establishments that I haven't been to yet either.
That's great. You know, in all fairness, I haven't been out myself much, and I'm pretty much an introvert myself, so I don't go out a whole lot as it is. But I am looking forward to checking out what restaurants and the first set of happy hours that you do get set up.
We will get it all on the website tomorrow.
Fantastic. Lisa, thank you again for calling in today. And again, on behalf of the community and all the businesses that are going to benefit from your volunteer work here, thank you for everything you're doing.
Thank you.
All right, Lisa, have a good day.
You too.
All right, to all our listeners, we will be taking a quick commercial break. When we come back, we'll be meeting with Carolina Ferreira, Ms. Shannon Seymour, and Dr. Ebanks in regards to the Red Cross Initiative, the Mobile Health and Wellness Program. We're back with more talk today right after this brief commercial break.
Green Turtle, modern solutions to get you through the new normal. Download the Green Turtle app now and top up yours or a loved one's phone with any mobile carrier in any destination. Home delivery of laptops, tablets, phones, accessories, and iTunes and major online retailer gift cards. And now, home deliveries of groceries and courier service. Guaranteed delivery within 2 hours from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Visit their list of products at greenturtle.ky or download the Green Turtle app today. Green Turtle is not only the future of mobile, but today it can help save a life. Take a ride on the Green Turtle Express today. Download the Green Turtle app, the future of mobile, saving lives today.
The record.
For information that matters to you, the people. Hear from the government, the opposition, independents, and other experts on issues and solutions that affect you.
For the record.
Every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, tune into 89.9 and 93.9 FM from 7:30 to 9 a.m. for Cayman's new Straight Talk morning show. For the record.
I invite you to join me for the record. You are invited to be a part of this interesting and informative show. Embrace the opportunity to dialogue with your legislators, policymakers, and those charged with policy implementation.
For the record.
Brought to you by
Coca-Cola. Available across the Cayman Islands from Tortuga Distributors.
Accept no substitutes. Taste the feeling with Coca-Cola.
You've spent a lot of time with your kitchen appliances lately. Did you realize just how old or out of date they really are? If you're thinking of upgrading or replacing your old kitchen appliances, there is only one place to go. Brand Source Home Gallery. They're having a 15% off sale on GE appliances this month. That's right, save 15% off on all GE appliances now through the end of July. You will love the savings and the look of your fresh new appliances from Brand Source Home Gallery in Industrial Park on Dorsey Drive. Call 623-5000 for more information.
Listen to the general public.
Your thoughts are just a telephone call away. 1-800-534-8255.
What the public is saying.
Let your voice be heard. And now,
Radio Cayman's Talk Today.
And welcome back to Talk Today. I'm Raymond Singh, filling in for Mr. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks. We do hope he's having an enjoyable time out of the studio today. We're pleased to have on the line now Ms. Carolina Ferreira and I believe Dr. Ebanks here to discuss the mobile health and wellness initiative by the Cayman Islands Red Cross. Good afternoon, ladies.
Hi, good afternoon, Ray.
Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us on Talk Today today.
Oh, thank you so much for having us. I'm speaking for Dr. Ebanks, assuming that she's on, but this is Carolina. I'm here.
Oh, she's here.
Yes.
It's always tricky on the phone, right? We can't see each other, so we're just kind of going on faith that you did actually call in and didn't leave us hanging. So, before we get to the actual program itself and the Mobile Health and Wellness Initiative, how have both of you been holding up? You both have very heavily community involvement positions, and how have things been going for you? I guess, Carolina, we'll start with you.
The only word that I can use is busy. I think it's the word that kind of describes everything for everyone, even, in terms of trying to manage the changes and, with the households and, kids being out of school and all of that. So I appreciate the question. Thank you. But I'm afraid I don't have a better answer other than busy.
Are you looking forward to school starting back, or do you want to keep homeschool going?
Well,
Be honest.
It's a tricky thing. My son actually falls in the more vulnerable category.
Okay.
So for me, I am very much, waiting and trying to make a decision as to what's best for our family.
Sure.
And it's just and I think that, that's an option that I think that parents should be able to have independently of, what situation that they are in. Because, and I think I've been very fortunate in the sense that I have a lot of support, and you have resources and the like. But, I worry for those who may not have as many options as I have. And I don't think that any child or any parent should have to choose between, health and well-being and, the ability to work or, going to school and the like. So I mean, it's just, I'm like every other parent trying to figure out what's best for our family. I do acknowledge the fact that, kids need socialization and they do need to be with friends and everything else. And it's just about trying to find that balance where it is that you're minimizing risk as much as possible. So I don't have a good answer for that either, Ray. I'm sorry.
But you know what? You gave a very thorough answer, so we'll take your thorough answer. It's completely okay. And how about you, Dr. Ebanks? How are you doing? Because you're head of pediatrics for the HSA during a period of
pandemic.
I've really chosen not to say that word. I really try hard not to say that word because it's everywhere.
Well, it is what it is.
It is what it
by
is.
definition.
So-
Luckily, the kids were spared to some extent, but we still have to be prepared.
Sure.
And we had to deal with doing things differently. So making a lot of calls, doing masks and kids are not exactly two things that go together really well.
No.
But I have to say the kids have been doing a lot better. They understand. And then we just had a lot of the mental effects. Because kids most of them by nature, they enjoy playing with other kids. They enjoy outdoor socialization. The teenagers where, they don't really want to be around their family on a regular basis. They want their friends. That's where they're at in their stage of development, is their parents. So those things are difficult, and learning to handle that, getting accustomed to the Zoom meetings. I have two teenagers. Well, one will be 13 in August. And it's rough for them being away from their friends and not having that,
Sure.
I know they want to hug somebody else besides the four of us. Talk to somebody else besides the 3-year-old in this house is my daughter's most upset me. I just need to see somebody else besides the 3-year-old and just talk to somebody else. So that's the difficult part. But I want for school to open. I cannot wait. Once we do it, well, there will be no correct way. I mean, this is a new territory for the world. So
Sure.
Things would happen, but we can watch what other places are doing and use what they, lessons learned, what's good and what's not good, and get the kids back out to school.
You brought up the comment there earlier about kids in masks not quite mixing.
Talking to me?
Yes, Dr. Eubanks. When you brought up kids in masks not quite mixing, and my first thought was, it'd be great if they actually made superhero or Disney themed masks. I think we'd get the kids to wear them a lot quicker and not forget them as quick if we had those themed masks. But
with kids, they tend to touch their face if they have on a mask. So if having on a mask,
fair enough.
Do more touching of their face, then
I see what you're
there's no
saying.
reason for the mask.
It makes sense. Yeah, the mask becomes obsolete at that point, right?
Yes, it defeats the purpose.
Fair enough. Well, at least we're glad to hear that you're both doing, despite all the stress that the past few months have caused, that you're both doing well. Well, let's jump into the new health and wellness initiative. Carolina, walk us through because this is actually a new one that I haven't heard about until very, very recently. So walk us through what this is.
Now.
Until you sent me a flyer telling me about a new mobile health and wellness branded by the Red Cross. So tell me all about it.
Yes. So basically, this is a brand new but short-term initiative to begin with, which the Red Cross is working in partnership with HSA, with the Wellness Center, Encore, CAP, FRC, Department of Education Services. So we've reached across to as many partners as humanly possible to basically try to get to the district and offer a physical and mental health check for children and adolescents. And the aim of this project is really and truly to try to connect people to services, So the mobile health and wellness unit is actually our emergency trailer in our truck, which we're actually going to take out to different places within the districts. We're going to move it around. We're going to try to make it as accessible as possible. And we have our government, private sector, and NGO partners who are the professionals who are going to be providing the service. So for a physical health check, we're going to be using the school health form, which Dr. Eubanks can speak a little bit more to. For the mental health check, we're also going to be using another standardized assessment. And the aim, and we're also going to, take time to speak to parents as well. And the aim with that is just to see, where are the kids and adolescents at? Is there any sort of additional support that they might need? Are there additional services that they may benefit from? Because if we think about it, schools closed on March 16th. It's still another month and a half, 2 months before they reopen in September. And this is quite a long time for kids to go without, seeing another professional or seeing someone outside of their families and stuff. And I know that we have eased the restrictions quite significantly, but for, you know, and I can relate to this, but for families where you might have someone in your household with additional vulnerabilities, there are people who are still essentially isolating, you know. So that's what we're going to be doing. We're going to actually be physically present in the districts over the next 5 weeks, starting next week, and with those professionals from different agencies who can provide that sort of, you know, check the physical health, the mental health, and the aim is really and truly that, you know, if people are in need of additional services, that those referrals can be made and they can access that support.
Of it and the timeliness of it. What was the motivation behind, I understand the motivation behind creating this program. What was the benefit or the reason why you went to the mobile element first as opposed to utilizing the facilities that are already around?
I think accessibility has always been a key concern. So, you know, we're very fortunate in the sense that we have the health clinics in the different districts and everything else. But I think, you know, so for instance, over the course of the COVID-19 lockdown and restrictions, one of the things that the Red Cross did was partner with the Cayman Islands Blood Donors Association to provide them with an additional space for people to be able to come and give, blood. And I think that the aim of what we're trying to do now is similar to that in the sense that we're trying to create a space where people will feel comfortable going to, but also that they can access, because we're going to be, you know, parking in different places in the community, and hopefully if someone does want to take, to take us up on the service, it will be a short walk from their houses for them to be able to come out and do this. So the aim was really, you know, the accessibility and also to try to minimize any of the potential fears that people may have in terms of going to an established setting where other people may be present and you're still having to worry about all the social distancing and everything else.
Okay. And so with regards to the element of privacy, how was that being handled with the mobile vehicle?
Go ahead, Dr. Rebay.
No, go ahead. I don't know much about the mobile vehicle. I just wanted to add that with school health, public health has been stretched because they do all the contact tracing. So immunizations are still being done, but not obviously in every district on every day. So we have a massive immunization going on now program. So a catch-up kind of program to get us all where we're supposed to be. And because of that, the school medical examination program or the school screening has not been able to come on board, so they're not able to do it. So this will help the schools and public health because it can be used as the screening.
I see. So this will be the pre-check screening for the schools for the 2021 school year.
Correct. So
I see. Okay.
Once HSS is involved in it, then these would count as that.
I see.
We're working full time, so we're back to normal. It's not normal, but we are doing all our clinics, less people in a day, so that we can clean in between and maintain social distancing. But this will help us to catch, and we want to change the face of pediatrics. Well, I am to age it a little bit. Well, stretch it out so that we include the adolescents, and this is a wonderful way to catch the adolescents in their environment because they don't leave home. If they're not sick, they're not going to come to the hospital, and they are by definition supposed to be the healthiest population. So this will help us to gather them as well.
So this is part of this initiative actually is to change to market directly to the older adolescents and have them take part in the wellness checks.
Correct.
And then, so if I can revert back to the question regarding to privacy, Carolina, since this does fall into the medical realm and people will be leaving their homes to come to the vehicles, how are you handling the privacy element with regards to just people's privacy in general?
Right. So basically, the vehicles itself are like self-contained units. in which people can, they'll come in. And so we'll have one that's designated for the physical check. We'll have the other one which is designated for the mental health check. And then we're going to create sort of a one-way in and out system. So as people are coming through, because of social distancing, we're also going to actually have appointments. So appointment time for people to come through. So they will need to pre-register for that because we need to ensure that, we don't have a lot of people who are in the premise and therefore creating any sort of issues relating to COVID-19 transmission. So so the actual vehicles themselves obviously will provide all the privacy that's needed from the perspective of what's happening inside and the checks that are going on, and then because we're minimizing the number of people who will be coming in because they'll be coming at different times. We're also going to be to ensure that there is no privacy issues from that perspective. So we're setting it all up. We have the truck, we have the trailer, we're going to have a tent, a separate sort of check-in area and the like, just to facilitate that, and also limited numbers of people who are coming through at any given point in time.
That's a very comprehensive setup, and I imagine it's difficult enough to do it in clinics, let alone to be on the road, moving mobile to the different districts. Now, as far as the schedule and the locations and which districts you will be in during which times, when do you anticipate releasing that information to the public?
It will be within the next day to 2 days. We'll do it via social media. We're on Facebook, as well as we'll make the information available to all the media houses. What I can say that we are starting with West Bay, and that we are going to be doing this Tuesdays through Saturdays from 4 p.m. till 8 p.m. As a time in which we hope that most people are able to come out and people are either home or able to get home. So we'll have all the specifics. We're just finalizing some of the locations just due to, accessibility as well as, security and the like, because the aim originally had been for us to try to leave the vehicles in whichever district it is that we're going to be operating at a time. But unfortunately, we've seen that there has been an increase, in thefts and other things. So we're trying to address that as well. But within the next 2 days at the very latest, but people can still contact us directly on health@redcross.org.ky for them to get, for us to be able to send the information on the specific district dates and locations, as well as the link to be able to book directly, and the phone number that we're going to have coming online later today that's going to be specific to that project.
That's great. On that note, we'll take a quick commercial break. When we come back, I believe we have Miss Shannon who's joined us on the conversation. Miss Shannon, are you there?
Me?
Miss Shannon, are you there?
I am here, yeah.
All right, great. So when we come back from the commercial break, we will get you on the phone and want to chat a bit more about the mental health aspect of the mobile health and wellness vehicle. We'll be back with more talk today right after this short commercial break.
Fidelity Bank would like to thank all essential workers. We salute your efforts and thank you for the sacrifices you've made to keep us all safe. During these challenging times we're facing, our top priority is the health and safety of the communities we serve. And while it's true that things are changing rapidly every day, one thing that will never change is our commitment to giving you the best and sound financial solutions to help you during and after the coronavirus pandemic. At Fidelity Bank, our focus will always be you. Fidelity, we're good for you.
This is an important public service announcement. The Standards in Public Life Law has commenced, and all persons subject to the law are required to file a declaration of interest by 30th of July 2020. To determine if you are required under the law to make a submission, visit www.standardsinpubliclifecommission.ky. Again, the deadline for persons to submit their declaration of interest in accordance with the Standards in Public Life Law is the 30th of July 2020. Stop the spread of coronavirus by washing your hands with soap frequently. If none is available, use an alcohol-based hand sanitizer. Stay at home whenever you can. Avoid close contact with people outside your household by staying a minimum of 6 feet apart and wear a mask while in public. For more information, go to www.gov.ky/coronavirus. The
The Wharf is your only waterfront breakfast and lunch atmosphere along the shoreline. Starts at 7 a.m. with freshly squeezed juices, hot coffee, and your farm fresh eggs.
The unique sunset happy hour and dinner ambiance is your obvious choice for your waterfront dining. See you soon for salsa and boogie nights at the Wharf.
Follow us on Facebook to keep in the loop of all the happenings and come and join us at the all-day waterfront experience on the 7 Mile Beach.
The Cayman Islands Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan. We're here for you. We are a not-for-profit, member-centric plan with a democratically elected volunteer board of trustees representing all sectors of the Cayman Islands economy. We have an all-in expense ratio of less than 1%, over 20,000 members, and $490 million in assets under management. We were the first multi-employer pension plan approved by the regulator in the late 1990s, and today we are still strong, secure, and are here for our employees and employers alike. If you would like to join or require further information, visit chamberpension.ky. And for information as it happens, follow us on Facebook, LinkedIn, or Instagram. Email admin@pensions.ky or call 745-7630. The Cayman Islands Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan. We're here for you.
Listen to the general public.
Your thoughts are just a telephone call away. 1-800-534-8255.
What the public is saying.
Let your voice be heard. And now,
Radio Cayman's Talk Today.
And welcome back to Talk Today. In case you're just joining us, I'm Raymond Singh filling in for Mr. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks, and we have on the line Ms. Carolina Ferrer from the Red Cross, Ms. Shannon Seymour from the Wellness Center, and Dr. Ebanks, head of pediatrics for the HSA, discussing the new mobile health and wellness vehicle, a project by the Cayman Islands Red Cross in conjunction with a number of community partners. Ms. Shannon, thank you for joining the conversation today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, so
I think it's.
Sorry, by all means.
No, I was going to say, it's a really important initiative, and we're super excited to be involved.
It's great. I mean, there's a number of foundations, a number of groups that have joined this project. Talk to us a bit about from the mental health side of things. What can parents anticipate receiving as far as the check when they come to the vehicles?
So I think one of the reasons why everybody's so keen to get on board is we're all very aware of the impact, the mental health impact that the pandemic has had on persons. We know that it's been a lot of stress, there's been a lot of family stress, there's been a lot of isolation, and to be able to kind of go into the community is such an important, I think, initiative. I love the idea of going to where our families are, where our communities are. And what parents can expect really is just an opportunity to talk with a mental health professional. If there's concerns that they have, they can express those. If there's some things that they've been noticing or they're concerned about in themselves or in their children, they can raise those. And then we, as the mental health providers, will have a screening measure available that we can use sort of as a checklist, as a way to go through and ask mom or dad or grandma or auntie or whoever comes a series of questions about how the children might have been coping, how the family might have been managing, so that we can identify if there's any further needs that we can assist with.
And what are some of the items that are on that mental health checklist that you're going to be talking to parents about?
Right. So we're going to look at, have they been sleeping? Have there been any changes in their mood? Has there been any changes sort of in their interactions? Has somebody been more withdrawn, or are they still very sort of outgoing? Are they noticing any changes in their behaviors? Are they a bit more irritable or aggressive? Have they been eating okay, sleeping okay? Are they more worried than normal? Are they more anxious than what is sort of typical for this pandemic right now? So we're looking at sort of core areas of psychological or mental health functioning, looking at our thoughts, our actions, our emotions, our behaviors, and then kind of putting those in the context of what we've all been through, and then identifying if there's any further assistance that we can offer a family.
And with regards to further assistance that might be available, what are some of the routes that you could potentially be suggesting for parents?
There's a whole network of mental health providers on island, and I think many of us have committed to being part of this initiative. And I do believe, I'll let Carolina answer that, but I think there are some efforts being put in place to ensure that families can have additional services if the need is identified in the screening.
Okay. And if I can revert back to the checklist that you're going to be discussing, how much interaction will the therapist involved, or the mental health professionals involved, rather, have directly with the children throughout these checks?
Yeah, that's a great question. We haven't, we haven't seen the space, and we don't have a list of people yet. And so how I envision it working would be if mom is coming in with a toddler, there's going to be a lot of interaction. I would want to spend a bit of time playing with the toddler. I'd want to talk with the toddler, but asking mom those questions while sort of noticing what's going on with toddler. If it's a teenager, we're going to talk directly to them. If it's a 12-year-old, they're going to have their own checklist to do because they're old enough to kind of be able to assess themselves. And we're really interested in hearing what they think about how they're currently doing, along with parents getting their opinion as well. And so a lot of it will depend on the developmental or the chronological age of the child in terms of how the mental health professional is going to work with that family.
Okay. Dr. Ebanks, are you still on the line with us?
Yeah. From a medical point of view, it's going to be a routine examination. So we're going to have a bed, we'll listen to the chest, palpate the abdomen, listen to the heart, and then we also are going to do things like weight and height. And you were talking about follow-up in terms of mental health, and that's their area, but in terms of health. So anybody whose BMI is above what it should be, we want to start having an action clinic where they go to these clinics, and it's called action because we need to get these kids into action. If they have high BMIs, where they can see, they can see the nutritionist at the same time they see the doctor. So these clinics would be special.
Okay.
We're bringing the children into those clinics. If you're asthmatic, poorly controlled, we'll get you into a clinic. We want to, like I told you before, we want to pull the adolescents. So there will be follow-up. It will not be a one-off. I mean, a lot of kids will be fine, and it's just like, okay, they pass their school health screening, they move on. We'll also be doing like a basic rudimentary hearing and vision screening.
Okay.
So we're doing the weight, the height, the blood pressure, the full thing. And if you fall out of the normal parameters, then we will follow you up with clinic appointments.
Okay.
So, and then, to do more in-depth. So that way we'll be followed up. And prior to what we were discussing before, I just wanted to say, in terms of, you were talking about privacy, a lot of this stuff is online. So we have to think about online privacy and documentation. So from that point of view, school health screenings have always been paper dockets. So we're going to be using the same form. So that's not going to be an issue, and it can be stored in the same areas. Or left in the locked vehicle, and when we're done, we put it where it's supposed to be, where we keep all our other documents. Also, in the HSA, clinicians, the nurses and the doctors that are coming would have access to their iPad, so it can go securely into our Cerner, and that way, once we are seeing them, or the doctor is seeing them, has privileges at HSA, they can go directly into Cerner, and then you have the security of HSA's IT department, where we protect everybody's medical data. So that's because when we think about safety, we always think about but these days we really have to think about our virtual safety or online safety.
No, absolutely correct. That's definitely a consideration to have. So just to clarify, so a parent wants to come and do one of your checks in West Bay, they're going to call or email, they're going to email the line, make an appointment to come see. Will they have to identify ahead of time if they're looking for the medical or for the physical or the mental, or when they come to the appointment, will there be two different professionals there taking two different checks?
Yeah, so it's going to be one holistic thing. So
Okay.
The check includes both.
Okay.
So basically, it's just a question of whether they start with one and then go on to the next one. And no, they don't have to identify. We'll just do the booking as a general booking for these two different services. So right now they can email the email address health@redcross.org.ky. We're going to have a phone line dedicated later this afternoon to that specifically, which we'll also be putting out in the public. And we're also going to have a direct booking link for people to go on there and actually make the bookings themselves once the schedule is up and running. And just to kind of build on, the access to the HSA system that's being made available and made possible because Digicel has come on board and will actually be, supporting us with not only the phone, which we're going to be using, but also the Wi-Fi box, which will give us Wi-Fi connectivity while we're on the road.
While you're on the road, that's a great. It makes it very convenient when you can actually access all your your base camp networks while you're on the road. So how long roughly then are we looking at for appointments for the kids, given you're doing the holistic initiative of both mental and physical health?
It's going to be a total of about 40 minutes in terms of the actual time with the professionals, so about 20 minutes with each. The only the reason why we'll book people out just for the hours is because obviously in between appointments and patients we're going to need to do the whole sanitization and everything else because of COVID-19. So we've built in sort of a 5 to 10 minute break in there just to be able to wipe down everything and make sure that we're still adhering to the new rules of the pandemic. So there is that. So it's going to be no more than the total amount of time that they'll be there will be no more than an hour.
Oh, wow, okay. And then as far as and we'll probably explore this a bit more after the break as well, as far as the additional support that could be offered depending on how the checks go, what kind of support could that entail?
Well, we obviously, because we are linked in, as Shannon mentioned, to the other mental health professionals, and as Dr. Ebanks mentioned, to the entire HSA system. But as I spoke about earlier, we have reached across the board here. So NAU, Department of Children and Family Services, Family Resource Center, those are all partners in this endeavor who are aware of what's happening and who are ready to be able to receive any additional referrals. So we're working within what is part of the system as far as this is the providers that we have in place. And as Shannon mentioned a bit before, we're also trying to facilitate access, especially for the mental health providers, because we know that there is a high subscription of those services going on now.
Sure.
So we're trying to see how we might be able to provide that ongoing service with some of the private sector providers in a way that doesn't, involve a lot of hoops. So so that's what we're trying to facilitate that. But I don't. That's still in progress in the works.
Okay.
But hopefully we'll have that information, within the next couple of weeks or so.
Okay. I do have a lot more questions to ask. We have to go to our 2 p.m. headline news. When we get back, we'll explore a bit more about the Mobile Health and Wellness Initiative by the Red Cross. Be back with more talk today right after this break.
Your 2 p.m. headlines brought to you by greenturtle.ky. Take a ride on the Green Turtle Express today. Download the Green Turtle app, the future of mobile, saving lives today.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman.
It's only 2 species that we have here on the island.
Generations present.
Your voice, your choice.
It is in the best interest of the people of these islands.
Local, regional, international. This is Headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
Today's biggest news.
With your latest headlines, I'm Felicia Rankin-Sollins. 2 people are under arrest after police seized 241 pounds of ganja during a search in Prospect on Friday. When officers arrived, a man with the suitcase took off in a Jeep. The 27-year-old was later arrested and charged with a number of drug charges. Police also arrested a 22-year-old Georgetown woman. She, too, is facing drug charges. In international news, Greta Thunberg, the Swedish environmental campaigner, has been awarded a new humanitarian prize worth €1 million. The 17-year-old founder of School Strike for Climate won the inaugural Prize for Humanity. Ms. Thunberg said she will be donating the prize money to charitable projects that are combating the climate and ecological crisis. Apple has announced a target of becoming carbon neutral across its entire business and manufacturing supply chain by 2030. The company says the commitment means its devices will have had zero climate impact at point of sale. It told BBC News any company hoping to become a supplier would have to commit to be 100% renewable for their Apple production within 10 years. The UK government has signed deals for 90 million doses of promising coronavirus vaccines that are being developed. The new deal is on top of 100 million doses of the Oxford University vaccine being developed by AstraZeneca. However, it is still uncertain which of the experimental vaccines may work. Those are your headlines. I'm Felicia Rankin-Solins.
Your 2 p.m. headlines brought to you by greenturtle.ky. Take a ride on the Green Turtle Express today. Download the Green Turtle app, the future of mobile, saving lives today.
Green Turtle, modern solutions to get you through the new normal. Download the Green Turtle app now and top up yours or a loved one's phone with any mobile carrier in any destination. Home delivery of laptops, tablets, phones, accessories, and iTunes and major online retailer gift cards. And now, home deliveries of groceries and courier service. Guaranteed delivery within 2 hours from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Visit their list of products at greenturtle.ky or download the Green Turtle app today. Green Turtle is not only the future of mobile, but today it can help save a life. Take a ride on the Green Turtle Express today. Download the Green Turtle app, the future of mobile, saving lives today.
For the latest in news and information,
follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, radiocayman.gov.ky.
Your voice, your choice, your radio.
Listen to the general public.
Your thoughts are just a telephone call away. 1-800-534-8255.
What the public is saying.
Let your voice be heard. And now,
Radio Cayman's Talk Today.
And welcome back to Talk Today. I'm Raymond Singh filling in for Mr. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks, and we are chatting with Ms. Carolina Ferrer, Deputy Director of the Cayman Islands Red Cross, Ms. Shannon Seymour from the Wellness Center, and Dr. Ebanks, Head of Pediatrics for the HSA, on the upcoming mobile health and wellness checks, which is a new initiative by the Cayman Islands Red Cross, which is a mobile vehicle that will be visiting each district in Grand Cayman over the next foreseeable period, doing physical and mental health checks for children from ages 4 through 17. Caroline, if I can just put the mic back on you for a moment again. With regards to costs for this initiative, is there any incurred cost for people who wish to come out and have their checks done?
Absolutely not. It is completely free.
Great. Easy short answer. I was hoping for more depth, but okay, that's great.
Nope, it's free. I mean, all of the Red Cross, community programs and the like are intended to be accessible to all. So we try, especially with anything pertaining to children and adolescents and the like. And we're very fortunate that we have the commitment of not only HSA, the Wellness Center, and these other private, public, and NGO providers. Because accessibility is a key concern. So it's free. It's the best four-letter word.
No, absolutely. Now, with regards to the mental health workers who will be assisting with the check processes, where will they be? Will they be from the Government Department of Counseling and Services, or are they from some of the private providers?
So we have a sort of a combination of things that are happening. So we have the providers like the Wellness Center, Course Cayman, Aspire, who have signed on. We have the Employee Assistance Program, and we're also getting support from the Family Resource Center. It's going to be between so some of the providers are going to be working with the kids, others are going to be having a chat with parents. So it's going to be a combination of the different mental health professionals.
Okay. And Ms. Shannon, if I could put, previously in the conversation, we were discussing part of this initiative being a marketing opportunity to engage the older adolescents in these checks. From the mental health aspect, what are some of the tips and tricks you could use to help parents get their children, their teenagers, engaged in coming out to the mobile health and wellness checks?
Bribery always works. I don't know.
You didn't sugarcoat that at all.
I think the reality is, letting them know that we're going to go do this as a family, right? Like, get all the kids on board, get the cousins, get the neighbors. I think it's a great initiative, and they can come out. They can have some privacy, You can talk to somebody by yourself, or for parents to say, listen, like, I've noticed this, and I want to go check this out. I think one of the best things that we as parents can do, especially during this pandemic and just in general, is model really good mental health care. And so to talk to our kids when we're having a down day, to talk to our kids about the things that we might worry about, or how we cope with stress in our own life, how we manage and take good care of our emotions and our thoughts and our brains. And so I think for parents to not say, like, I want to go check you out with a mental health professional, but to say, we're going to go, this is a health and wellness check. This is looking at health holistically, the way that we want it to be perceived, right? We're going to go get our heart rate checked, and we're going to go get our blood pressure checked, and we're going to go just make sure that we all got through this pandemic okay. And we're going to go, and that's a really important sort of preventative, modeling really good mental health and physical health care thing for parents to be saying.
I guess the behavior, you're absolutely right. The modeling element is a key way to get the kids to engage as well. But these, just to confirm, these mobile units going out are strictly for children ages 4 to 17. We're not looking at adults during these checks, are we?
No, right. So
Okay.
the actual checks themselves are for kids. We will be speaking to the parents or guardian when for the older children or the ones who can do the mental health checks by themselves are there. We'll also want to kind of touch base and check in with parents, just as an additional sort of, just to see just how persons are doing. But yes, but the main idea is the physical health and mental health of children and the mental health part for parents. But certainly if we do find that there is something else that's going on, that the family needs additional support, or that parent and the guardian could use an additional referral or something else, we're not going to say, sorry, you don't qualify because you're not a kid. The aim is to also, provide some holistic support for the children for anything additional that may happen. It's just that right now, from just sort of the ability and resources perspective, we just focus on the kids for the main services.
Okay.
But also, I think it's really important for us to also recognize that if we're concerned about a child's mental health, we have to be concerned about their parents, right? So we hold and support a child by holding and supporting their parents. And so I think I certainly see, yes, we're going to do the screener and collect the information on the child, but we're also in the community to just sort of see the family as a whole group and make sure that everybody has made it through this very stressful time okay.
Very well said. I think I wish more people actually embodied what you just said about the if you want to look after the children, you have to look after the parents as well. Now, when you mentioned just now the modeling of, I believe the words you chose are modeling good mental health behavior. Did I get that correct?
Yeah, mental health care.
Mental health care. Thank you. If you can repeat again for our listeners, what some of that might entail when we talk about good mental health care?
Well, as it relates to this pandemic right now in particular, I've talked to a lot of families and they've sort of talked about their kids having some fears or anxieties about things opening back up again. Maybe they're thinking about going back to school, or they're thinking about going to camp or back to friends' houses. And my advice has always been for parents to model that, for parents to say, listen, you know what, like I went back to work and I felt a little bit nervous, and I got there and I talked with my coworkers, and in the end it was okay, and then I felt better. And sharing that with your kid lets them know, A, that what they're feeling is normal, B, we're all feeling it, and that together we can get through it.
Okay.
I also think, that relates to a big one that we're kind of seeing right now. And then I think in general, we don't have any problem our kids seeing us go to the gym or go to yoga class or go to the chiropractor if we have a bad back. And I think there's something very powerful for young people, especially adolescents, to see their parents say, like, hey, I'm dealing with this issue. I'm going to go talk to somebody about it. I think that we can model healthy, help-seeking behavior and reduce the stigma of mental health.
Okay, thank you. Dr. Eubanks, if I can ask you the same element with regards to parents modeling good, healthy behavior, what would you suggest? I know it's a big one. That's probably even a bigger one than...
Well, the literature and evidence is that if the entire family is involved, weight loss is very difficult for any child that is obese or overweight. So that in itself, you have to model healthy behaviors. Your household has to have healthy meals, healthy nutrition, healthy options for snacks. You can't be drinking Pepsis and then telling the kid they can't. That's not the way it works. Exercising together. You talk about going to the gym. You can walk together. For the older adolescents above 14, you can probably go to the gym. They had some kiddie CrossFit classes together as a family, so that can get going. So that would be my main area. Also, things like if you're worried about asthmatics, the family has to be involved because there's no carpet, nobody's smoking around the child. So there are things where we have to make sure that we include them. Anything is easier if you get the entire family involved.
Sure.
Kids deserve everything. So if you tell them to do one thing and you're not doing it, they're not going to see the reason for doing it.
Not necessarily. Kids don't listen. They just copy. They're little copycats.
They are.
They are. They embody our behavior. Whatever we do, they're going to copy us, whether we like it or not. That's the truth of it. On that note, let's take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we'll recap on the upcoming Mobile Health and Wellness Initiative. Be back with more talk today right after this.
Green Turtle, modern solutions to get you through the new normal. Download the Green Turtle app now and top up yours or a loved one's phone with any mobile carrier in any destination. Home delivery of laptops, tablets, phones, accessories, and iTunes and major online retailer gift cards. And now, home deliveries of groceries and courier service. Guaranteed delivery within 2 hours from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Visit their list of products at greenturtle.ky or download the Green Turtle app today. Green Turtle is not only the future of mobile, but today it can help save a life. Take a ride on the Green Turtle Express today. Download the Green Turtle app. The future of mobile, saving lives today.
Hey, hun, what you doing?
Putting things away in the shed since it's hurricane season. Preparing for the better.
Don't you mean preparing for the worst?
No, for the better. Since we have Brit-K Insurance, we're fully covered against hurricanes. Plus, they have response teams ready to help us file a claim faster. If I were preparing for the worst, I'd watch football all day.
Still don't get it.
Isn't there a match on?
Oh, really?
Let Brit-K prepare you for the better this hurricane season. Call 949-8699 or visit britk.ky.
Register for the University College of the Cayman Islands 4-week technical vocational courses. The introductory courses provide training in computer technology, customer service, QuickBooks, commercial cooking, electrical installations, plumbing and air conditioning applications, and many more. Classes start July 27th. Qualified Caymanians can apply for private scholarship. How can you register? Join UCCI's registration drive from July 22nd to the 24th and July 27th, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. on the UCCI campus. Bring your passport and health insurance card. For more information, contact the admissions team at admissions@ucci.edu.ky or call 623-8224.
Mommy, have you been taking your medication?
No, I think I forgot to pick it up.
Your doctor prescribed it for a reason, so you should be taking it regularly.
I know, TD. Thanks for the reminder.
If you are elderly or vulnerable and need your prescription delivered to your home, contact the Health Services Authority Pharmacy at 949-8600. Taking your medication when prescribed is important to your health, and your health matters to us. For more information about our pharmacy hours and locations, visit hsa.ky. or call 949-8600.
The Wharf is your only waterfront breakfast and lunch atmosphere along the shoreline. Starts at 7 a.m. with freshly squeezed juices, hot coffee, and your farm fresh eggs.
The unique sunset happy hour and dinner ambiance is your obvious choice for your waterfront dining. See you soon for salsa and boogie nights at the Wharf.
Follow us on Facebook to keep in the loop of all the happenings and come and join us at the all-day waterfront experience on the 7 Mile Beach.
89.9 Radio Cayman helps you to weather the storm during this hurricane season.
One of the most crucial elements of hurricane preparedness is storm awareness. During the season, it is of utmost importance to pay attention to the latest local weather forecast, as hurricanes do not suddenly form or strike. There are various methods of advance notification. Utilizing such may be the difference between a favorable outcome and disaster. Both television and radio serve as excellent mediums with up-to-the-minute storm path information in the wake of a hurricane. Another method of tracking a hurricane may be only arm's length away. Your smartphone or tablet can be your most valuable tool before, during, and after a storm, providing countless numbers of apps with crucial hurricane information. Many apps allow you to track storms with moving radar and satellite imagery, plus offer alerts, current conditions, forecasts, advisories, and even video.
This hurricane preparedness tip was brought to you by your community radio station, Radio Cayman 89.9 FM.
Listen to the general public.
Your thoughts are just a telephone call away. 1-800-534-8255.
What the public is saying.
Let your voice be heard. And now,
Radio Cayman's Talk Today.
And welcome back to Talk Today. I'm Raymond Singh, filling in for Mr. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks, and we're just wrapping up our segment here with the Cayman Islands Red Cross. Ms. Carolina Ferreira, along with Wellness Center's Ms. Shannon Seymour, and the head of pediatrics for the HSA, Dr. Ebanks, discussing the upcoming initiative, the Mobile Health and Wellness Vehicle by the Cayman Islands Red Cross. Just to quickly recap, ladies, if we can walk through again for our listeners who might just be tuning in, what the Mobile Health and Wellness Initiative is. Carolina, I'll put the spotlight back on you for this one.
So basically, the Mobile Health and Wellness Check is going to be a mobile community program, which we're going to be undertaking from West Bay to East End over the course of the next 5 weeks. We're going to take our disaster response vehicle and our truck to different locations where clinicians in the physical and mental health fields are going to be on hand to do a basic check with children and adolescents ages 4 to 17, and we're also going to be talking to parents and guardians as well, as a way to kind of do, a check-in with the children and their families. We're going to be using the same screening tool that the HSA uses for the school check, which would also help facilitate for those families in which you have children who are going to be needing this anyway for school. So you'll be able to get that done there. And the aim is really and truly to try to reach as many people in our community as possible. It's going to start next week, Tuesday. We're going to run from 4 p.m. until 8 p.m. Tuesdays through Saturdays. You should follow the Red Cross on Facebook for an updated list of locations, as well as additional information on booking. And if you have any questions, you can actually email us on health@redcross.org.ky.
That's great. And then one more quick question in regards to you mentioned next Tuesday through Saturday you'll be starting up in West Bay. Will you be doing 1 week at a time per district, or are you still kind of working out how long you're spending in each district?
We're going based on sort of what we've seen as far as the needs based on the population, the number of children, and everything else that so we've been working with Department of Education Services, Department of Children and Family Services, and others to try to identify it. So we're going to be spending a bit more time in some of the bigger districts like West Bay, Georgetown, and Bordentown, and a little less time in some of the much smaller ones. Okay. So that we can try to accommodate as much as possible.
Okay, and then as far as the sister islands go, are we going to see any kind of initiative like this, whether mobile or not, for Cayman Brac?
We have not, just because obviously, I mean, now travel restrictions have lifted a bit, but just because of how when we started this, there was so much more in terms of the confinement. So we have not thought about whether or not there's a way to, I guess, export this to the BRAC in some way. We're going to wait and see. We do have volunteers, Red Cross volunteers there in Cayman BRAC, but we don't have the same vehicles or other equipment up there. So I think it's going to, depending on how it goes here, if there's a way in which we can do it so that it makes sense in the sister islands, I think we'll certainly consider it. It's never our intention to exclude in any way, shape, or form, but definitely with that pandemic and sort of the limited mobility that we've had, it's not as easy anymore to say, okay, well, we'll jump on a plane and have some people up there for the day and, or a couple of days and come back. So obviously, if there are persons in Cayman BRAC who would be interested in seeing how we might be able to work together, it's always easier once you have people from the ground in the locations who are saying, yes, we can help coordinate this and look at it. So if any BRACers have ideas or they want to jump on this, they can also email health@redcross.org.ky, and maybe we can start the discussion on that.
That's fantastic. And then, Dr. Ebanks, if I could put the spotlight back on you for a moment, if you can walk our listeners through again what they can anticipate from the physical health checks that you'll be engaging in.
Okay, so they'll come in. We'll obviously name, date of birth. We will do the basic measurements. So we'll do weight, height. We'll do blood pressure, pulse rate, maybe saturation, respiratory rate. So we have that taken care of. Then we're going to do a physical examination, basically from the head down, check the eyes, the nose, the throat, listen to the chest, palpate the abdomen, maybe do a little mini CNS exam to make sure the muscles and tone and the power is good. We're going to test the hearing and the vision rudimentarily with a tuning fork and a Snellen chart, and that is it. So no, nothing invasive. If we think, if we're going to join you in the activity clinic, we might order blood for you to go get done, but we see you in clinic, you do those bloods in the hospital, so nothing being done there before you come to clinic, so that we can have all that sorted so we can go through it. So basically, there is just a routine exam. Okay.
And these are, just to reiterate for our listeners, this is the equivalent of the school welfare medical check that they would have to do anyhow.
It's that same form that's been filled out.
Okay, great. And then Miss Shannon. Is it Dr. Shannon or Miss Shannon?
Dr. Shannon.
I will go with Dr. Shannon.
No, it's going to be, the equivalent of what Dr. Ebanks is saying in terms of a mental health check. So we're going to ask a few set questions about a child's sleeping and eating and their behavior and their general temperament and their general mood, maybe how they're feeling, what their play has been like. We're going to spend a bit of time engaging with the children themselves and asking mom to fill out a brief questionnaire, and we're happy to assist with whatever is more comfortable to just gather some standard information with regards to mental health screening.
Okay. And then, Carolina, just to reiterate again with regards to privacy elements, in order to ensure privacy, listeners are being asked to make their appointment to ensure, and this is not only for privacy reasons, but to help ensure social distancing as well. Granted, this is a physical and medical scenario, but face masks will be required?
Yes, yeah. So all the COVID-19 protocols, face masks will be required. We'll also have some on hand if people don't have any. We'll have the hand sanitizers. We'll be asking people to, physically distance the 6 feet. We are going to, the great thing about having HSA on board to be able to input some of the information directly is that we'll be able to minimize the amount of sort of, paper that ends up getting used. So we're looking at all of the COVID-19 precautions.
Great. And then before we wrap up, can you list out, if you don't mind, all the sponsors and partners that have helped pull off this initiative?
Program, the Family Resource Center, On Course Cayman, Aspire Cayman, the Alex Panton Foundation, the Family Resource Center I may have already, Digicel Cayman, Health City Cayman Islands, and then I'm very grateful to the Department of Education Services for a lot of the additional work that they've done with this, and we also have the buy-in and support from the Needs Assessment Unit, the Department of Children and Family Services, and then, obviously working with our partners from the Protection Third Tier Project, which is geared towards child protection, awareness and education, and those include a lot of the people who I've already mentioned, as well as the police service, Ministry of Education, and Sands Creative Studios. So SANS are the people who are responsible for Bobo and Titi, the blue iguana and the green turtle, and they've certainly have been assisting quite significantly over the pandemic for us to try to gear some messages towards kids. So we're very grateful that Bobo and Titi are going to be helping us with this as well in terms of trying to make it a little bit more child-friendly for our the younger kids who hopefully benefit from this project as well.
Sure. That's great. Ladies, thank you. Was there anything else you wanted to add before we...
Nope, that was it. And so health@redcross.org.ky. Follow us on Facebook for updates, and we'll obviously be updating the media. And thank you so much for giving us the opportunity to start, spreading the news.
No, that's fantastic. Thank you all so much for this solid initiative. It's a great summer initiative to get us over this post-COVID hump.
Definitely.
Thank you. Thank you so much
welcome.
again. Have a fantastic
Bye.
rest of your day. On that note, listeners, we do need to call it a wrap for Talk Today. Thank you again to all of our loyal listeners out there in Radio Cayman Nation, and our guest, Georgetown Central MLA, Mr. Kenneth Bryan, Miss Lisa Jarvis from the I Love Cayman group, and the members from the Mobile Health and Wellness Program who are on the line with us just now. That was Miss Carolina Ferreira, Deputy Director of the Red Cross, Miss Shannon Seymour, Dr. Shannon Seymour from the Wellness Center, and Dr. Ebanks, Head of Pediatrics for the HSA. On behalf of the entire Radio Cayman family, it's been a pleasure broadcasting to you today. I'm Raymond Singh. God bless and have a fantastic rest of your Tuesday.
Talk Today is brought to you by Fidelity Bank. For all your banking needs, visit fidelitygroup.com. Fidelity, we're good for you.
Also brought to you by greenturtle.ky. Take a ride on the Green Turtle Express today. Download the Green Turtle app. The future of mobile, saving lives today.